It's Thursday, July the 6th, and we are back in studio recording just for you. We've all recovered nicely from our holiday around the pool, had a good time. Now it's time to get back to business. I got a sound clip that's just going to set the whole thing for us tonight. Listen and tell me what you think about this.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
That gets me pumped up. I like it.
It gets you pumped up because there's white substance found in the White House, and they have confirmed that it's cocaine, but no one knows where it come from, right? So, Father Fortenberry, how are you this fine evening?
I need to know more about this cocaine.
Well, we're going to talk about it.
I'm doing well. Survived the holidays. I was a victim of a crime.
It was a violent crime.
A violent
crime over the holiday, but we'll talk more about that, I guess.
Yes.
Because there's a string of robberies around town.
There is. I also myself.
Gary,
yeah.
How are you?
I am fine, but
devastated.
I've been violated, been devastated. This weekend.
What other betas you been?
I don't know. I even ate.
Yeah.
Devastated. I don't know. I can't think of anything.
Anyway, we'll talk about that later. And then Marty Marr. Well, maybe there's Marty Marr. What's going on, Marty?
I'm doing good. Sitting here drinking me my favorite local beer, Second Rodeo.
The second rodeo, because we lost the first rodeo somewhere along the way.
That's right.
So look, let's jump right into it. There was a white substance found at the White House. I guess that gives the White House a whole new meaning, doesn't it?
There was white people there too.
It was snow.
It was, well, it took them a while to figure it out, apparently.
Why did they just get Hunter go rub it on his gums? They could have figured it out real quick what it was.
Oh, it wasn't Hunter's. You haven't heard?
That's what they say.
Look, if you have to come out and say it's not the president's son, that's already an issue. If you have a official statement, this is not the president's
Joe
son.
Biden ignores questions again from a press after cocaine was found in the White House. He instead chooses to slam gun violence and says teachers shouldn't be armed as Secret Service investigates shocking drug discovery. So President Joe Biden ignored shout-out questions from reporters. Look, they're turning on this dude. They are now at every press conference. They are giving him hell. And we are froze up. There we go.
Oh, we are froze.
They're giving him hell about whether it be cocaine now or anything really. White powder found in the West Wing on Sunday while the president and his son were in Camp David.
There you go.
So they were. It says they were in Camp David, but it tested positive for cocaine and forced the White House to be evacuated. Why would it need to be evacuated?
Well, because when Hunter comes around that corner wired up, it's unsafe.
About 5 years ago, guys, if you heard of a white substance in the White House, what do you think it was?
Anthrax.
Anthrax. Not cocaine.
Yeah, but that was before the Bidens moved in. Because apparently, in Joe's case, if you just love your son, that's all it really takes to. He's no longer being tried for anything. He's been found guilty.
Well, he has already said he's the smartest guy he knows.
Joe or Hunter?
Joe said Hunter's the smartest guy he knows.
He probably is. You think about the life that dude's lived.
No, he's the highest guy he knows.
I think it's both. Look, he's lived a life like a playboy. That's all he's done.
So I saw a video just today where I'm not going to say he's clearly just took a bump, but he's on camera behind Joe and Jill this past weekend, and you see turn around, wipe his nose like this, and walk off stage.
And the sniffles.
Well, look, when you've done as much blow as Hunter Biden, you probably have problems with a runny nose all the time.
He's got that drip.
Yeah. So Biden condemned the use of guns in schools and told the attendees, by the way, arming teachers not the answer. I guess he's just trying to, as they've done through this entire presidency, just redirect. The Kremlin, the president was pressed on whether he was working on a deal with the Russians for the release of Wall Street Journal journalist Evan Gershkovich. I think I said that correctly. Since we gave away the Doctor of Doom.
What about the other guy that's been there for 5 years or 3 years?
I think that's him, isn't it? Is it not?
No, he wasn't. He was a. Can't remember what he was. But that wasn't him.
Well, sounds like they were making a deal with Tony Montana at the White House.
Maybe that's a part. Maybe that's like a gift bag you get to go to the White House these days.
It's a dime bag.
Everybody gets a little dime bag. Look, I love the reporter said there was a bag. It was dime size. I can tell you what kind on the street.
I tell you what, let's watch a little video. If I can get it to work, I don't know. I'm having real technical difficulties.
Yeah, we're having technical difficulties today.
Cocaine was reportedly discovered in the West Wing of the White House. The fire department and Secret Service had to evacuate the area.
Hello, Dave Bonnie with this news story. This is an update. It was Sunday night when fire officials in Washington, D.C.
Wait a minute. I think I did something wrong here.
Cocaine was reportedly
This was one I wanted to hear.
Okay.
in the West Wing of the White House. The fire department and Secret Service had to evacuate the area pending identification of the substance. Cocaine substance was found, an illegal drug can find its way into the people's house, given how tight security is, given not just anyone can gain access to the West Wing,
But family members can gain access.
Without being searched.
Was it Hunter Biden? Was it a high level staff? I don't want to indulge in conspiracy theories, but we need to get to the bottom of why was cocaine found in the White House.
I'm sure it was planted. I'm sure it's planted. Trump came in and planted the cocaine. That'll be the next thing. Actually, Trump had something to say about this. Let me see.
Look, I can only imagine Hunter walking around the White House talking to Social Security, not Social Service, Secret Service, saying, "Hey, if y'all find something laying around, I lost something, holler at a brother before y'all call the police in."
I mean, I'm not a detective or anything, but I think that's the first guy to investigate.
It's the only guy to investigate. I mean, he has a track record.
That's the only one that I'm aware of with a track record of drug usage. At the White House.
Has this entire administration not just been a train wreck?
It depends on who you ask, because some people would say that Trump was a train wreck.
I know what some people say, but if you're looking at this non-political,
Yeah.
you had one of your person administration had to get fired for stealing clothes from airports.
Okay, continue. And he was part of your radiation, environmental radiation side of the.
Yeah, then you have the entire debacle with Buttigieg. I mean, as far as
about the train wrecks.
The train wrecks. Remember the shutdowns on the ports.
Yeah,
like I couldn't tell you a single transport, whatever his title is,
that was
in the history. I just don't know them.
Yeah, anywhere. Then you also had you also have a seventh grandchild that you don't want to. A child popped up in the picture during this time, and
we find cocaine.
We find cocaine.
There's a diary floating around that doesn't belong to anybody, but they press charges on people for having it.
Hunter Biden's finger paintings are going for millions of dollars.
I mean, the whole thing is a train wreck.
Scrippers are involved.
So is this the future of our political?
The big guy,
politicians.
The big guy.
Like even include. I mean, Trump wasn't near this bad, but I mean, what happened to having decorum in the White House?
Let's see what Trump had to say about this.
I bet he got the good stuff.
That the white substance found at the White House could have come from Special Prosecutor Jack Smith. Tap the screen if you want to read the full unhinged ramblings of someone clearly grasping at.
All right, that was the week. Let's find another one here.
Jack Smith?
I don't know who that is. Trump launches historical rant about cocaine found in the White House.
Did they say hysterical or historical?
Hysterical. Okay. Former president says fake news media will soon start saying that the amount found was very small and it wasn't really cocaine, but rather common ground up aspirin. President Trump, does anybody really believe that the cocaine found in the West Wing of the White House, very close to the Oval Office, is for the use of anyone other than Hunter and Joe Biden?
Oh, that makes sense.
But watch, the fake news media will soon start saying that the amount found was very small. It wasn't really cocaine, but rather common ground up aspirin, and the story will vanish. Has deranged Jack Smith, the crazy Trump-hating special prosecutor, been seen in the area of the cocaine? He looks like a crackhead to me. So,
that's Trump.
That's Trump. Right?
Well, wouldn't you think cocaine's the natural CoQ10?
Huh?
Cocaine's CoQ10, that helps you focus.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, you get energy drinks and stuff.
What else we got? We didn't.
Well, I've lost everything I had.
He lost it
Okay,
all.
so Gary had something that he.
Well, I would get back to that.
We could talk about how we've been violated this weekend. I mean, me and Jay both were
All right,
severely
so-
violated with violence.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So, Fortenberry, share with us your violent incident.
So I wake up this morning and do my normal routine, go get the truck, drive to work, and a gentleman I work with points out to me I no longer have tags on the back of my truck. And they were there when last time I looked.
Well, I mean, you don't look at your tags every day.
No, don't look at tags every day. So the best we can tell is I was a victim of a crime,
Violent crime.
where somebody had.
Did they use their own pronouns?
That's it. What I do know is they didn't take my cooler out. They didn't get no beer out of my cooler.
They just wanted your tags.
They took my tags.
They wanted your legal, state-issued tags.
In fairness, there's 4 vehicles in my driveway. 2 of them have out-of-date tags. So
They found the good one. It was a luck of the draw.
look, Maddie's car went out 2 days ago, and my truck's been out for a month. So that's probably the reason they took the.
If they would have took the other one's jokes on them.
Yeah, that's right.
So, Gary, do you want to share with us your?
Yes, I was also victimized. So as I was leaving the house today, similar to Jamie, to go work and do things that would help my bank account, I was driving by my mailbox and my flag is gone. Someone has taken the flag.
Your American flag?
No, my flag that you.
Oh, the flag that
On the
tells you if
mailbox.
you got mail or
If you
not?
got, no, that
If
tells
you're
you if you're
picking
going
up
to
mail?
put, or you're going to give the post office mail to take it out of your mailbox. That flag has been removed. So
I thought you were talking about like American.
I did too.
no, it was a post. This is a federal crime.
Oh, that's a federal crime.
This is a federal crime.
It is a federal crime, but who uses those anyway?
I did. Well,
I always thought they never were. I didn't think they worked.
Actually, Miss Tamara, my mother-in-law, did use that tag because every once in a while I see it up. But you know what? I feel like I've been flagged.
Deflagged.
Right.
You've been deflagged.
All right, I'm back. I got a couple stories here. July 4th parade in Seattle area is forced to reroute at the last minute for everyone's safety to avoid massive drug-riddled homeless encampment.
Where is this at? California?
Seattle.
Seattle. Oh.
Yeah, Seattle.
Yes, that's much better than just removing them.
Yeah, exactly. So last minute, but they had to know they were there, right? They just go in.
I wouldn't think homeless encampments just spring up overnight.
I wouldn't think so. In June, a blaze tore through 2 tents in the encampment after a man using a fire pit left his tent unattended. Look, I advise you guys to go check out some of the YouTube videos. This place is absolutely ridiculous what people are doing and going through. A new study, resumes with they, them pronouns were 8% less likely to generate interest.
So you're less likely to be hired if you, or not even hired to even make it to the cut to get an interview.
If I'm interviewing somebody and
Or a resume. It's on their resume.
yeah, if I interview somebody or I look at a resume and it says they, them, I'm instantly going to think this is a potential HR catastrophe.
But yes,
Even if it's a great employee, all that, the risk, because nobody wants to mess with HR.
but I also put it in the same thing as someone started putting their hobbies in their resume. Like I like to play badminton and stuff like that. I've seen those and they're like, what the heck? Why is this in here? I just want to see what you can professionally do. What's your background? And
See, that's why I like being in the construction industry. We say, "Are you a felon?" And if they say yes, we say, "All right, come on."
and no. And if you say no, okay, we got you special. You got special jobs for you.
Yeah, I mean, if they're not a felon, well, that means we can get on military bases.
You can get military bases. Go work for FedEx.
You know how hard it is.
UPS.
Look, I just did a job at Lockheed Martin. You know how hard it was to get people on that job.
Are you a felon? No. All right, you come and work. No matter what you can do.
FedEx, that's the most difficult. I've worked on military bases. FedEx is the hardest place I've ever got into.
So as a contractor, Jamie, for interviews, do you just say, "Show me your hands"? Let me feel your hands. Are those working man's hands?
No, because
It depends on what he's casting. That well, did I say casting?
Yeah, can we have a casting couch?
You need a casting couch for his job.
More of
Look, I mean, we don't care. We don't care. I just what I love about my industry.
more like a casting sectional.
So, how many pregnant women do you hire to work for you?
We've had them.
Because there's a new act went into effect on
We had
June the
one.
27th. Pregnant Workers Fairness Act allows soon-to-be mothers to request accommodations. It says approximately 70% of all expecting working women work during their pregnancy. The Pregnant Workers Fairness Act went into effect roughly 6 months after its passage. Pregnant women and new mothers can request additional or longer breaks, flexible work schedules, closer parking spaces, leave for medical appointments, and temporary transfers due to known limitations, providing the accommodations does not cause undue hardship to the employer.
A lot of, for the most part, I don't have a problem with that. There's a few things.
I didn't hear anything crazy.
Yeah.
But it depends on what you heard.
I mean, I heard they
I
could.
think I heard most of it.
They could park.
You said a lot.
Yeah, but I heard. Here's what I heard.
Parking spots are fine with.
Yeah.
So at what point though does it just become that, well, now I can only work 3 days a week when I need to work 5?
Can you perform the task you were hired to perform? If the answer is no, then
Well, see, they always leave this about undue hardship to the employer. What does that mean in court of law? It's going to be challenged in the court of law. I mean, I think people should make accommodations for pregnant women anyway and shouldn't be forced to do this.
Because they are working on a human being inside their body. That's just what they're doing. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's like my wife, my wife, her pregnancies were way harder than I think.
Yeah,
a lot of people.
They damn near killed her.
Every pregnancy she's had, her body is essentially allergic to being pregnant. And I think with Josie, her last pregnancy, she had to take iron infusions because they were scared when she was going to give birth, she would bleed out and just die because she couldn't keep it down.
Jose was legit. She wasn't.
Oh yeah, Jose, poor kid.
So,
but jeez,
that's. I think people have a lot more sympathy for pregnant women than a lot of other things.
I think they have some hardships, but I also feel like some of them don't, and some of them will try, like Terry's saying,
take advantage.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
but I do feel if they truly have an issue, I don't have any issue with them parking closer, or maybe taking a day off here. Now, granted, do I think if they take a day off, I think.
Okay, let me ask you this. Should they get additional days off, or should they have to take their sick days or PTO to cover it?
They should have to use their PTOs.
All right, so my question is, this is what I think the fair answer is, in that, did they say after giving birth, how long do they have to get back?
It was before its pregnancy, not the birth.
Because after the birth, I've seen...
That's already protected in a way with maternity.
But I think, and this might not be what Gary's saying, but I think this would be a good point, is if you're allowed so many days of postpartum, you should be able to bank those days on the front end if you chose to.
If you needed to.
So there's a set number. Yeah. There's a set number.
All right, so ladies out there, all three ladies that listen to us, chime in on your thoughts about this. What do you think about this Pregnancy Fairness Act? And all the workers that work for Jamie, you can chime in as well. Boy, I'm struggling with some of the stuff here. There is actually, and there it is, there is an urgent fertility crisis. Guess where it's occurring at? In mRNA countries. So in countries that were really heavy, forced the jab, the mRNA jab, several nations that had stable birth levels before the mRNAs were introduced in 2021 have seen sharp drops since. Sweden had about 115,000 births annually from 2012 to 2021. Last year it was 105. In 2023, they are tracking below 100. Germany has a similar trend. Meanwhile, Eastern European nations like Bulgaria, which had much lower mRNA jab rates, had seen in some cases increases in births in the last year.
I don't find this as surprising news. I think it's been common knowledge that there's a potential for it to have birth defects or hinder child procreation.
Yeah. Or I don't know about procreation. I don't think it's hindered that possibly, but actually having conception.
East Asian nations, the ones that really forced everyone to get the mRNA jab uptake among adults, already had low birth rates, but since early 2020, they have seen birth rates fall to levels previously considered unthinkable. So they really locked everybody up for a lot longer. Literally locked them up in some of those Asian nations.
Yes.
And they didn't even procreate then.
Oh yeah, you can't procreate if you're locked up. I mean,
The crisis is most profound in South
sure you
Korea.
can. It's just,
unicreate.
I mean, it might not be a two-party system, but
Check this out. The crisis is most profound in
pyramid
South
scheme.
Korea. A country of 51 million that had barely 600 births a day in April. The South Korean birth rate is now barely 1/3 the level needed to keep the country's population stable.
so is it? I wonder if it's affected men or women.
I bet you it's both. I mean,
I'm just thinking. Well, I mean, me and Gary can go down there and volunteer our services because we're shot free.
yeah. I mean, we could do that, but
I hate to see a country just dissolve.
You're
There'll be a bunch of fat bearded South Koreans running around, but
me and Jamie will do it for the country.
yeah,
For was it South Korea?
for South, I'm doing
South
North
Korea,
Korea.
South Korean nationalism.
Whatever country needs our services, we will step up.
The Biden administration has had a rough week. They had the cocaine, and now a federal judge bans the Biden administration members from meeting with social media companies over accusations they colluded with execs to create an Orwellian ministry of truth during COVID and censored conservatives.
So when we're talking about Orwellian, we're talking about the book 1984, right?
Yes,
That's what we're talking about.
I
Yeah.
love how that is its own term
I
now.
haven't watched that. I haven't read the book. They should make a movie out of it.
If you watch it, you
didn't watch
instead
that
of
book?
looking at a
I
book.
didn't watch that book.
Maybe you should have. Maybe you should have. Actually, I haven't either.
I will say this: the only George Orwell book I've read was Animal Farm, and I would like to read 84.
Isn't it? Go ahead, Gary.
I was just going to
loaded.
say, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense that the people in control, in power, that makes the laws also have control of speech.
Isn't it ironic, though, in 2016, they claimed that Russian collusion with social media gave Trump the election? Mm-hmm. All that was disproven.
That was all disproven.
Now we know
Hold on.
for a fact
That was
that the
misinformation.
Biden administration colluded with Twitter and Facebook and all social media to block any negative things such as the Biden laptop, the Hunter Biden laptop, which we now know is true. It was all fake. It's exactly 360 degrees or 180 degrees.
Have people been charged with providing actual misinformation?
I want to say no. I don't. I haven't heard.
I mean,
One thing too that we kind of happened while I was out, and I don't even know if y'all discussed it. I didn't catch it. Affirmative action.
We did.
we did. We talked.
Yeah, okay. I need to listen more clearly when I'm.
Yeah, we talked about it. We
Okay.
did.
Well, because that's still a very, very hot topic, and it probably will be for a long time. This Supreme Court is throwing bows.
That they're out there. I mean, I'm not going crazy with it, but they're trying. People should go to college based on their merit.
Agreed.
I think
but
you're-
I'm just saying, you look at it as a whole. You have the abortion, the overturning of Roe v. Wade. You have overturning of affirmative action. Then they just found it unconstitutional to pay for the school loans.
Yeah, that's right. That was overturned.
I mean, and that doesn't help me, but I don't feel like it's right that other people should pay my wife's student loans.
You know that because you have to start paying those back here pretty soon, right?
Yeah.
Next month.
I read
Real
the
soon.
article. It was very short. It suggested that the starting to repay the student loans could be the trigger to the recession. It could be the final draw because people have been spending that money,
Yep.
that extra money, and that when they then no longer have that money and they're paying their student loans but have to start repaying student loans again, that could finally be what triggers the recession. Because another problem, the Fed says they're not sure how much money U.S. households have left. They said based on all the stuff they're seeing that they think the American people have about $500 million, all of America, $500 million left in savings. And that it'll be
I don't
all
have
spent
$500
up.
million left to say.
All of America.
All of America. And that'll be basically all spent by the end of the year. And when that occurs,
So I found this interesting. I saw a guy on TikTok today discussing the student loan, and of course I haven't fact checked it, so I'm just going to roll like it's true.
It is.
But during the late '60s, the original setup for the student loan was instituted. They had a Democrat president. They had a supermajority, and they owned the House. And it was pushed through that the government would start backing these loans. And when the government backs the loans, we all know what will happen. Prices will go up because it's guaranteed loans.
And you
Guaranteed
cannot
loan.
file bankruptcy on a student loan.
So
Yes.
that was in the late 60s or late 70s. The Democrats took power again, or the Republicans were trying to push where there was two ways that you could default on a loan. And that was if it was undue hardship to your household.
Yep.
And if it was, there was another way. It's basically like my wife was a teacher.
Yeah.
If she paid 5 years, it would default. It would be defaulted.
It was almost community service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
back
depends
to
on
the
where you
community.
were teaching.
And once again, the Democrats voted that down and would not push that through. So if you're unhappy with the current system of student loans, be mad at the Democrats.
Well,
And you know who the biggest proponent of that was? Joe Biden.
Oh my gosh, he's been in office for that long?
Yes.
Oh my, I didn't know that.
So how that ties to the economy? The U.S. economy expanded at a much faster pace in the first 3 months of this year than previously estimated. The problem is that the consumer spending is accounting for 70% of gross domestic product, which means it's not companies or businesses that are buying and spending money. It's you and I. It's the normal Joe. And I don't think you can keep up those spending levels. I just don't. I don't think that most people can, as expensive as gasoline's going to come.
Yes. Dude, food is... You can't walk into Walmart, and I know this has always been a joke, but you can't walk into Walmart now and spend less than $100.
It's not hard to spend $100.
Oh, it's not. You can get like 7 items. You spend $100.
And that's a great value brand. So.
Oh yeah, great value. You got a great value TV. You got a great value.
Okay, so I've got a question for you guys, and look, this is really happening, but I want to get your view. How trans women breastfeeding children? A person that was a man became a woman. They're actually breastfeeding babies.
I got a hot take on it, but you go first, Jamie.
I stay confused. Is a trans woman
was a man
person? Okay, that was a man.
that
Or
now
is a man.
identifies as a woman.
What the hell are they breastfeeding with? They just stick a man boob in a baby's mouth, or
Yes.
it's like the episode of Family Guy where Peter tries to breastfeed Stewie. You remember that one? He has a hair in his mouth.
So experts have today warned that biological males breastfeeding babies can be self-indulgent and selfish with powerful medication used to produce the milk itself, carrying a potential health risk. It follows the case of a British trans woman sharing a photo of her breastfeeding a child on a bus. Miko Minio-Palello, a former labor special advisor, came to public attention after discussion on the news how the soaring water bills were tough if you're a mom. Trans women, people who are biologically
All this is
women,
people who are trying to bogart Father's Day and Mother's Day.
they basically take all of these
swallow.
medications that allow some type of liquid to form in the breast,
Yes.
and then they force the baby to do the normal thing. And
That sounds like cancer. Sounds like you
I'm gonna take the scientific method on this one, okay, guys? I feel like this is the same thing as I'm gonna say the vaccine. That we won't know how it is affecting the child till later on, because we don't know. We don't know what there could be long-term effects from this that we don't know that's occurring.
Are you saying that typically men aren't breastfeeding?
I'm gonna say this is something new.
going out on a limb here.
I'm gonna go out on a limb that this is something new, and we don't know the long-term effects of this.
On something else. When did it become just cool for women to just breastfeed in public wherever they want to do?
I think it's always
been there. I saw women breastfeeding when I was a child.
No, we're not talking about a woman putting a blanket over herself, and we're talking about titty popped out.
Now, I did see a woman breastfeeding like a 6-year-old one time. That freaked me out.
live and in person.
Live and in person.
Yeah,
Were you related to those people?
No, I was not. I was dating the person who was related to them at the time.
Okay,
I'm not married to that person.
No,
I'm not.
hold on. All right, we got to get to the bottom of this.
Rewind.
Yeah,
We
all right,
won't- no,
hold on. So you were a teenager.
He was 60 months old.
I was a teenager. Yes, I'll agree.
And you
I
were
already
dating
know,
a
already
person. You were dating a person,
I was dating a person.
and their mother was breastfeeding a 6-year-old.
No, it was their.
I already know.
It was their cousin. It was their cousin. 'Cause
Okay,
Their cousin was breastfeeding a 6-year-old.
Yeah, because it was their aunt's daughter. Yeah, it was her cousin. It was her first or second cousin. Breastfeeding,
But it was her
a
cousin's
boy.
6-year-old.
When that kid's big enough to eat cookies while breastfeeding,
I'm gonna be fair.
Gary's probably jealous.
I'm gonna be fair that it may have been a 5-year-old, but it was definitely a
It's a big kid.
It don't matter.
The kid was potty trained. I'm gonna say that.
that can't even be good for your stomach, man. I mean,
It was sort of weird for my stomach at the time.
Look
How
at
long?
that.
How long do you have milk?
as long as they
keep
breastfeed.
You can continue your breastfeeding.
nice.
It's like a wet nurse just.
So-
Yeah.
You just keep doing it. You're going to continue.
But by that
milk.
point, the kid's going to remember it. Like
I
kid just
remember-
walks
Gary
up-
remembers
I
it.
remember it still.
So you were in the room,
Scarred.
and the kid walks up hungry and goes.
They did go off to the other room, and I was like, "What the heck's
So
going on?"
you walked over to watch.
No, I didn't watch, but I was like, "What the heck's happening?"
Gary
And they
walked up and
explained
said
to me.
Gary
of
walked up and
what's
said, I know she got 2 of them.
I mean,
He's like, hey, bro.
I'm
you
only
share.
18.
You gonna share.
I mean,
You gonna share.
At this point, looking back, you weren't that much older than him.
Hey,
No.
suck, give. Come on. Pass that mug around.
I was like, I did feel violated myself watching, of what was about to
So,
occur.
but for everybody else in the household, it just seemed normal.
No, it didn't.
Oh, I would have been like, what the hell are you doing?
Like the people,
I'd have called him out.
like even my girlfriend at the time was like, "Oh, that's weird." I'm like, "This is your kinfolk. You need to say something." But I stayed back.
How old's too old?
Yeah, that's another question.
I fully believe if a kid's pulling up walking, that's too old.
I'm gonna go on and say once the kid get a tooth,
I just want to say teeth is.
and my wife,
Maybe it's a giant baby.
yeah, my wife tried the thing, but Josie literally got a tooth after 4 weeks. She was like,
All right. There's another. We're talking about a lot of sex problems. Adderall causing erectile dysfunction in young men with an anti-Viagra effect. Warns
Anti-Viagra.
"So you gotta take more Viagra."
A surge in erectile dysfunction in young men is being fueled in part by rising Adderall use. A leading doctor has warned a staggering 41 million Americans now have an Adderall prescription. Guys, I'm going to tell you, Big Pharma, we all should be worried about those dudes.
Yep.
With every drug you take, there's a side effect, and you have to take another drug to take care of that side effect, and then that drug that you took's got another side effect. You got to take it. What this sounds like a money making scheme, like a pyramid scheme.
Well, you know what would be better? Instead of doing Adderall, just do cocaine because you don't have the side effects like that. You have other side effects, but
Don't you like?
What are the side effects of cocaine? Do you have other side
Don't you like?
well,
lose
you can
septum?
your septum can be ate out.
Oh, that's probably what Hunter be.
Instead of
Yes.
one nostril, instead of 2 nostrils, you get one.
And think how much more cocaine you can get.
Like one big snort.
It's like a highway. It's like when they widen the
More
highway,
like an
man.
interstate now.
More traffic through.
You had 2-way highway, now you got a 1-way interstate. Like you're in Hotlanta. They had like 9 lanes.
So note to self: don't do a whole bunch of Adderall.
Don't.
Limit my Adderall intake.
Leave them Adderall alone.
No. If you take Adderall, you take Viagra at the same time.
There you go. Look, see, this way he's smart in the group. Problem solved.
Smart. So smart.
Katerina Pavlek, an actress on the popular TV show The Mindy Project. I never really watched that. I did like the lead, but decided to end her life on June 17th after suffering from myalgic encephalitis, chronic fatigue syndrome.
What is that?
Related, the neurological illness is incurable and causes patients to suffer overwhelming fatigue that's not improved by rest. According to the Center for Disease Control, the actress attributed her bout with it to the COVID-19 booster shot.
So she took her life and blamed it on the COVID-19 booster shot?
She was only 41 years old. She was in such pain and in such terrible shape. Yes, she decided to take her own life. She must be in Canada because you can't do that in the U.S., can you? But
Oh, you can kill yourself in the U.S.
yeah, but that's exactly what happened.
It's still illegal, but yeah, you can.
What are they going to do?
She
to you?
said the booster jab I received over a year ago destroyed my health, my body, and my life completely. There is no other way to end my suffering other than the decision I made.
So what I'm thinking is she took the booster shot and had an immediate side effect and then just couldn't get out of there and
Yep.
and
Couldn't
then
get over it.
Couldn't get over it.
She probably had some type of immuno disease and it just triggered.
I mean, there's
That's
so many,
what's happening.
and that's like there's
a lot
so
of it.
many, and they're all anecdotal evidence, and I realize that. But like my wife, a lady she knows, her husband had the shot, and within a matter of an hour, was having a stroke. I think.
Well, here's another thing. I watched a video, and I don't know if it's true or not, but some country or whatever that did not take any vaccines compared to like the U.S. had like 90 times or 80 times less heart issues the past year than America has. Like all of a sudden,
Wow.
it was insane. I don't know what it is. I don't have the data. I just saw a video saying something.
And
like
you know,
that.
in fairness, us Americans have other issues causing heart problems.
Yeah, like McDonald's.
Yes,
I love McDonald's though too.
it's delicious.
So there's also in the news story about a 25-year-old man who went missing for 8 years. Check this story out. A 25-year-old man whose mother claimed he went missing for 8 years has accused her of holding him hostage inside their home, drugging, and sexually abusing him. Rudy Farias was found in a disheveled state outside a church in Houston, Texas last week. His mother declared that it was a miracle that her son had been found when all along, now the story's taken a dark turn, accusing his mother of holding him captive, abusing him, making him play daddy while naked in bed, treating him like a slave, and giving him hallucinogenic drugs.
What the heck? That's just wrong. There's really nothing to.
It's terrible.
It's
Terrible. People are terrible.
I blame microplastics.
Is this guy ever going to be a functioning member of society?
I don't know. He's only 25. He's basically lost 8 years of his life.
And he also has sex with his mother.
Cocaine.
Yes.
Yeah,
You go and play that.
that's right, Rick James. Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
See, I remember the story. This several years ago. Hell, probably decades ago. This girl ran away from home where her dad had actually locked her up in the basement, and they'd had like 8 kids together.
This was in
Australia,
Europe.
what?
It was in Europe.
Europe.
Austria, I believe. Yeah.
Same thing, Australia.
I listened to a true life, true story about
Yeah,
this.
like every time a kid would, she'd give birth, and he'd be like, "Oh, your daughter dropped another kid off at the house." And why the mother never said, "What's going on in the basement down there?"
He built in the basement, they claimed they were remodeling, but he built this elaborate room with really thick concrete and just moved her in there and kept her hostage for years. The only reason she got out was she convinced him she was going to die, and he took her to get you. It's pretty wild.
But like, you can't. You have to think: will she ever be
No,
healthy and functional?
your mind will never be healthy. I mean, it don't matter how much psychiatry you have, you cannot take that away.
Well, but people adapt to things, right? And they have their own way of adapting. But can she be what you call normal? But what is normal? Everything.
Your dad not raping you?
No. Yes.
I'm gonna go with that.
That I would say the majority of people in the U.S. did not have their father rape them. That's I would consider that a normal.
You are just on a limb here.
I am. I'm going out there that would be considered normal, where the majority of people don't do a certain thing.
I think some people can be tough, resilient, and yes, no, they'll never be what you'd say normal. They never grew up normal. She lost babies and all kinds of stuff. But can she be a functioning member of society? I don't know. It's been a while now.
I mean,
I would like to revisit that, have that story revisited, and see where she's at.
We'll look it up and see. For the next
functioning, I think should be a functioning member. I think people can always be resilient enough to be a functioning member of society.
And statistically, though, if you're exposed to violence or sexual assault as a child, you will.
I think a majority of people can put a facade up to where they can act like they're normal. But when they go home and they're sitting there by themselves in front of a TV with nobody there, that's where the issues
She was in the basement for 20 years.
Yeah. I guarantee it's going to happen when she's like in a closed, dark space. She's like, what? That's what's going to happen. You can't take that away.
So don't they say like pedophiles are typically have been assaulted too?
Typically, yeah. At some sort, probably as a child.
It's Elizabeth.
It's hard to assault them if they're not children, but
correct.
The girl's name was Elizabeth Fritzl. Her dad's name was Joseph Fritzl.
Oh, they're related?
This fool.
He's still alive, serving.
Why is he still alive? That's what I want to know.
For real, I'm with.
I mean, at the bare minimum, in the United States, he would have died in prison.
She was given a new name following the trial.
I don't blame her on that.
She now lives with her 6 surviving children in a tiny hamlet in the Austrian countryside, which also cannot be identified and only referred to the country's media as Village X. Children are between the ages of 20 and 34. reportedly slept in rooms with doors permanently open after undergoing weekly therapy sessions to eliminate the traumas they suffered inside the cellar.
You can't eliminate those traumas. I don't think you can. You can reduce the traumas and have certain, like, what do they call woosaba moments.
They're basically keeping these people in, like, protective custody. They're watching them 24/7 to make sure people don't jack with them. So I guess, hey, way to go, Austin.
Well, they deserve that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah,
because society failed them there.
Yeah. All right, what kind of parting words y'all got?
Damn, well, we just ended this thing on a terrible note, didn't we?
That's bad.
It made me sad.
Not all of them can be funny.
Yeah.
Father Fortenberry.
Do better than Oster, Dad.
Gary.
I don't have anything, but I don't.
If you don't have nothing to hush,
yeah.
Marty.
So leave your kids alone.
leave all the kids alone.
Hey, we need some followers on YouTube.
Man.
Go
Leave our
on
kids
YouTube.
alone.
We may go
It's
live
terrible.
after this hadn't rained us out, but thank y'all for listening. We greatly appreciate it.
Take my picture down from the courthouse wall. I'm living in the clouds and I ain't gonna fall. Somebody done saved this outlaw.